What if I told you that in ReZero Season 1, every single Sin Archbishop was essentially around Subaru during the course of the first 25 episodes? Yes, that's right, even Sin Archbishops, which haven't appeared in the anime yet, has been around Subaru in the first 3 arcs of ReZero, or their influence was affecting Subaru. Now, this is of course pretty random, and it just goes to show how good Tappei's writing is, in which he can pretty much introduce every single Sin Archbishop, and you won't really notice it unless you sort of read all of the material around it. So the first Sin Archbishop is of course Beetlejuice, who is the Sin Archbishop of Sloth. I mean, he's pretty much in the anime, so there's no real need to explain him much. So let's move on to Regulus Corneas and Libatin Kaitos. Now, most people will say, well, they appeared in Season 2. Well, you need to realize that whilst they did appear in Season 2, their influence was already in Season 1. If you remember, the blank letter which causes Ram to attack Subaru and Julius was caused by Rem's name being erased. In fact, in the Season 1 director's cut, the anime literally ends off with "Who's Rem?" So again, this is technically in Season 1. And if you remember, the Arc 3 interlude is where Rem gets eaten in the web novel. So this is an Arc 3 event, which does take place in Season 1. Not only that, we can actually take into account another Sin Archbishop by looking at the Arc 3 interlude web novel. When Regulus and Libatin Kaitos talk to each other, you can see that Regulus states that Libatin Kaitos is eating people, but he's not filling himself up. Now, this makes absolute sense because Libatin Kaitos actually eats names and memories for the sake of Louis Arneb. So all the way back in the Arc 3 interlude, Regulus Corneas was foreshadowing Louis Arneb. And because of course the Louis Arneb can eclipse into Lai at any time, and she's being foreshadowed here, she is essentially being hinted at all the way back in essentially Season 1. However, Sirius can also sort of be linked to Subaru in Season 1, and that is namely by the Wandoro side story that Tappei wrote. In this, it features Sirius and Regulus Corneas. And we can see in the side story, Sirius is unhappy due to the death of Beetlejuice, and this is after the events of Arc 3. We can also see that she has a box of Beetlejuice's remains, so this seems to imply that Sirius somehow got hold of Beetlejuice's remains, which was of course where he was killed by Subaru. Now, because this is after the events of Arc 3, this could actually take place in Season 2 of the anime. Either way, Sirius is of course the least influential one when it comes to the main cast of ReZero. However, it does show that she was nearby when everything was going down, considering she seems to have collected Beetlejuice's remains. So, whilst this could be Season 2, it is worth mentioning. Now, of course, the final Sin Archbishop is quite possibly the easiest Sin Archbishop to sort of pin down, and that is Capella, considering both Elsa and Meili are the antagonists of Arc 1 and Arc 2, and both of these characters work for Capella. We do see in Assassin Sisters that Meili receives her orders to attack the Mather's domain, and we do know that Roswell was not the person that hired Meili for this sort of mission, so this again implies that Capella was the one behind the attack on the mansion. So again, we can see how Capella is influencing the story of ReZero. So what did you think of this video? Do you think I'm just grasping at straws, or do you feel like the Sin Archbishops had more involvement than you thought they did? With maybe the exception of Sirius. Let me know down below, and thank you for watching.